In this video, I'd like to adjust a few details. And the first details I'd like to adjust is to fix that black line around the rocks here. And that black line comes from the mask that we are applying to the volume raise. The mask that we are generating from the depth. As you can see, it's a little bit harsh, right? It's like very, very strong. And I like to smooth that alpha out. So I could do that by using a node that we called edge blur. So we'll add an edge blur after the invert node here. And as you can see now, it's a little bit smoother. And let's see how it looks like when we get out of it and we merge it on the top. And yeah, that's already way better. But then I feel that there is still like a line of 1 pixel which is extra here, and that create a sort of dot black line. So to fix that, we could use a erode node. And if you look at the alpha here, and after the erode, so we need to check the alpha, there we go, we can see that we are shrinking a little bit the alpha, and that will help us to blend things properly in our case. So we'll connect that erode here right before my edge blur. And now if I check things out, I can see that, yeah, now it's way better. Now things are smoothed. We'll see in the next course about keying that we need to be careful while using those nodes, but in our case, it just helped to blend the light. So no problem. Now that I see the image being like that, I think I'd like to smooth a little bit my volume raise as well. So I will open the volume raise and maybe I will add a little bit of blur out of it. Like not too much, something like, I'm just always trying a lot just to, but like I will just use something like, I don't know, 7, 6.5, 7. 7 is nice. It smooths things out a little bit. Cool. Now what else? Well, I will close the properties and look at my image. I think that we will help selling the image a little bit more if the rim light of the earth was a little bit brighter. So let's do that as well. So I will come to the rim light here and I will increase the intensity. Something quite intense. Let's see with all the layers as well. It's important to see with the final comp to see how it looks like. Yeah, it's better. I think that having more rim lights help to sell the very bright sun behind. Okay, now I think that we have a lot of orange here. Of course, the planet is orange, but as well our god rays and lights on the rock are pretty warm. So maybe it will be nice to adjust a little bit the warmness of the sun. So I will come to my matte painting here and make sure that I'm after the sun layer, so shuffle to sun, okay, perfect. So here after the crop, I could create a grain node with the G key and come here to the gain and switch it a little bit toward orange, just to add a little bit of warmness to it. Okay, cool, great. Now, last thing, I'd like to reintroduce the defocus that I disabled. So let's enable it back. But now maybe let's adjust it a little bit. So I'll close all the other properties and just open the Z defocus properties. So first, I think there is still a little bit too much of defocus. So I could reduce the size here and the maximum size as well. I just really want to add a little bit of imperfection because not everything could be sharp on the picture. So this is why, but I really want to keep it very, very low. And actually maybe to sell my shot, the focal point is not the right one. Maybe it should be better if we're focusing on the planet here and having the front of the image a little bit defocused. And maybe as well I could actually increase my depth of field to have more element chop. Maybe go over 1. Yeah, and now I think it's better. I get a little bit of defocus in the foreground elements, but in the background things are more sharp, and I think that's better for the matte painting to keep it with more definition. Another thing as well, if you'd like, you could introduce an overall color correction. And by that, we could use a color correct node or a grain node at the end of our comb before, after your lens flare. It's a little bit up to you to introduce any sort of color correction that you like. But just one thing, be careful with that. I will actually not do it because we are animating a matte painting. Well, the matte painting have been thought like that, and the art direction have been checked and approved before. So if you have to modify the color of the matte painting, maybe talk to your matte painter before. Of course, if you are the matte painter, well, do whatever you want. But if you're working with a team, before modifying a matte painting, make sure it's okay. So there we go. Okay, now there is other things that we need to fix, and those are the imperfections coming from the 3D. So for example, the aliasing that we see around the earth here. And we are going to do that in the next clip. See you there.